The movie preview critic, informing and entertaining your movie world.
December 14th is almost here, and we all know what that means. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the live-action movie, finally hits the big screen. So let's take a moment to review the previews and available evidence to determine if it's just another bastardization of childhood memories designed to capitalize on the recent 80s nostalgia craze, or if it's a genuine attempt to reinvent our favorite lovable furball musically gifted version of the Three Stooges. Let's start by saying this is really the second time the Chipmunks are making a comeback, or being reimagined, if you will. If you do your research, you'll find that the Chipmunks were created in 1958 by Ross Bagdasarian Sr., who also did all the voices. In 1959, he released the Chipmunk Christmas song, also known as Christmas Don't Be Late, and actually went on to win 3 Grammys. Yes, I'm serious. 3 real Grammys. In reality. Not in an episode of the cartoon show. And because it was pretty popular, the Alvin show was created in 1961, but for some reason only lasted 1 season. I guess Chipmunk Mania was over and pretty much forgotten about until 1983, when Alvin and the Chipmunks hit the Saturday morning airwaves and stayed there for 8 seasons. Then, in the 90s, there were some direct-to-video movies, like Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet This Monster, and Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet That Monster, pretty much ripping off Abbott and Costello. And then the new millennium began, and they waited for their time to come, for that 20-year cycle to start again. And in 2007, 20 years after their last big-screen movie, The Chipmunk Adventure, just like Halley's Comet, they return on schedule in this live-action movie. But why now? Well, because just like comic book adaptations and horror movie remakes have been hot, so too is turning Saturday morning cartoons into live-action movies gaining momentum in Hollywood. Garfield 1 and 2, Transformers, Underdog, now Alvin and the Chipmunks, and in 2008, Speed Racer and Dragon Ball Z. Inherently, there's nothing wrong with adapting a cartoon into flesh and blood reality, as long as it's done with care. The problem is that most of the time, adaptations like this are nothing more than opportunities to cash in on a fad. Remember the He-Man movie from 1987, Masters of the Universe? How about the adaptation of the popular trading card series known as the Garbage Pail Kids, which was actually a satire of a previous fad known as the Cabbage Patch Kids. So making money because the time is right is nothing new in the movie business. What is new, or what would be new, is if these fad-created movies were actually good. It's directed by Tim Hill, who has a background in puppet CGI animal movies, having done Muppets from Space and Garfield Tale of Two Kitties. Okay, so he's not Brad Bird or Robert Zemeckis, but at least he is in familiar territory, making a movie targeted at a younger audience. Even though if you look at the marketing for this movie, it's sending mixed messages. Let's take a moment to examine this. Starting with the posters. This one's tagline is, "Here comes trouble." Why? Because they're dressed all hip-hoppy? So what does that mean? Anyone dressed like this causes trouble? Seems like a perpetuation of stereotypes, doesn't it? And does that mean the Chipmunks are going to be all rough and tough and acting all NWA gangsta in the movie? What about this poster's tagline? The original entourage. Really? Has the ad agency that dreamed up this poster actually ever seen the show Entourage? It's about a movie star, his 2 friends, and half-brother trying to every hot girl they see in Hollywood. Is that what the Chipmunks were all about back in the day? And if they're mentioning Entourage as a tagline, does that mean the target audience are 18 to 35-year-olds? Or are 10-year-olds watching Turtles score some Mary Jane for the boys and Kevin Dillon a girl in a teddy bear suit? If that's the case, get the cement mixer ready, because the foundations of our society are crumbling. And what about the teaser trailer's opening narration? Defined a generation. Woodstock. The Beatles invasion footage. 8 to 12-year-olds have no clue what any of this means, so this must be aimed at Generation Xers. This brings up warning sign number 39. The movie's marketing is f***ed up. It's not sending a clear message to the audience of what to expect. Returning to the topic of the filmmakers, if there's any reason to be excited about this movie, it's because it's written by John Vitti, best known for his outstanding work on The Simpsons, with episodes like Bart's Dog Gets an F, Bart the Genius, and one of the all-time classics, Mr. Plow. He's also worked on The Critic, King of the Hill, and Saturday Night Live. So the script should be pretty great, right? It could be if he was the only writer. Joining him as a credited scribe is Will McRobb, perfectly named because he wrote Snow Day, which McRobbed me of 2 hours of my life. All I have to say is that it starred Chevy Chase and revolved around kids stealing a plow so they could have the day off of school. And there's even a third writer on this movie, Chris Viscardi, who also helped McRobb write Snow Day. So who knows how much of John Vitti's material is left, which brings up another warning sign, number 40. More than 2 writers on a script equals story shit. Mainly because having more than 2 visions for a movie can create a story with a personality disorder. It's like 2 architects trying to build the same house. Each has their own idea of what it should be. Then there's the cast. Let's just say, right now, why does there even need to be voiceover talent? You can't tell who it is anyways because of the sped up voices. Let's play a little game and see if you can tell which actor is doing the voice.
Meet Alvin.
Oh, that sounds just like Justin Long. Of course.
Simon.
Who's that?
A housekeeper.
Sounds like Matthew Gray Goobler.
And Theodore.
I had a nightmare. Can I sleep with you?
That must be Jesse McCartney. Just for and giggles, I'm gonna try to do the voices too.
Hey, look at me, I'm Alvin. Someone please tell Dave to stop yelling at me. Yeah, and now I'm Simon. I'm the smart, nerdy chipmunk. And hey, I'm Theodore now. And it doesn't matter who does the voices because we all sound the same.
The only actors worthy of mentioning here are Jason Lee and David Cross. What happened to these guys? I haven't been this sad since I saw Charlton Heston and Edward G. Robinson in Soylent Green after remembering them at their acting peaks in The 10 Commandments. It's depressing to witness a falling star sometimes, and they say you should make a wish when you see one. So, let's make one all together. We, the audience, wish Jason Lee and David Cross will not have to make movies just to get some quick money anymore. Which brings up warning sign number 29. It's obvious actors are in this movie for an easy paycheck. Personally, I think he and Kevin Smith made a bet. I dare you to make a movie about regular people making a homemade porno. Okay, fine. But I dare you to star in a live-action version of the Chipmunks. Then there's David Cross, saying this line. The Chipmunks! In 1999, he did an HBO comedy special titled The Pride is Back. And by starring in this movie, it's obvious his pride is gone. Obviously, like Garfield, this is an attempt to start a franchise. If there's any success with this installment, the sequel will be ordered up immediately and made within the next 2 years. It's time to reorganize the preview to reveal how the story will most likely unfold. Dave Seville is a songwriter down on his luck until one day, for some reason, 3 talking chipmunks show up in his house. So instead of catching them and selling them to the government so they could do some laboratory experiments and figure out why they can talk, he bargains with them by making the following offer.
You guys sing my songs, you get to sleep here.
If Simon is as smart as he's supposed to be, wouldn't he know they could sell their singing ability to any music corporation and be living in a mansion by the end of the week? It's not like the movie has abandoned logic. It did decide to be realistic about the chipmunks' actual size. So why not be real world about their ability to bargain in a reality where they would be automatic stars? After they agree to help Dave, there's probably going to be 10 minutes of chipmunk shenanigans as they learn how to shower, go shopping, watch TV, and do mundane human stuff. Dave eventually tells his boss about his woodland pop stars, and they start recording an album. Meanwhile, the Chipmunks realize Dave is lonely and needs a girlfriend, so they play matchmakers and try to hook him up with someone, because who better to ignite romance than three critters who have 9-year-old mentalities? During all this, Dave and the Chipmunks form a bond, as is evident by this oh-so-sweet scene where Theodore sleeps on his forehead. They release an album, and the world goes crazy for singing chipmunks. I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty freaked out if animals could talk and sing all of a sudden. But then again, I guess if they said things like, "Yo, DJ, pump this party," I'd buy a ticket too, just to see what the these little guys would do on stage. Which, by the way, would be a horrible concert experience for anyone beyond row 10, because look how small they are. 100 fans get to see them up close, and 40,000 get to watch them on the big screen monitors. This is the part where you talk about the ending of the movie, but it's not in any of the previews, probably because it doesn't include any opposition, someone who is trying to sabotage the Chipmunks or Dave. More than likely, there has to be a bad guy in this movie. We just don't see him or her in the marketing. Instead of conflict and drama, we're being attracted by chipmunk cuteness galore. The chipmunks on a couch. The chipmunks go shopping. The chipmunks try to get Dave some romance. And a chipmunk farts. So, if there isn't any opposition here, expect 90 minutes of cutesy montages of the chipmunks learning to live like humans. But if there is an opponent, expect someone trying to kidnap the chipmunks for their own personal gain, or trying to get Dave out of the picture. Opposition is essential to having any dramatic force in a movie, especially if you want to have a climactic ending. Maybe it's Dave rushing somewhere to rescue the chipmunks at the last minute, or the reverse, where they're trying to save Dave. Again, without opposition, the movie will just be a big Hallmark commercial with warm and cute sequences where the chipmunks act goofy and cutesy. It probably ends with Dave and the Chipmunks as big recording stars, the bad guy, who more than likely is David Cross, being foiled in his plan to bump Dave off and become the Chipmunks manager himself, and of course, Dave getting a girlfriend. Maybe the last scene is the Chipmunks spying on him kissing the girl. Of course, during the credits, there will be some cute and funny moments, maybe showing David Cross in jail or experiencing some ironic punishment for his Mr. Burns-like evil plot to destroy the Chipmunks. And of course, some hilarious outtakes. Once credits stop, the lights will come up, and your 5-year-old will spend the next 2 weeks trying to talk with every squirrel they see in the backyard, maybe even opening the door and letting them in the house. Hope you have rabies shots in your first aid kit. Now it's time to rate the movie. Let's keep it real and rate it first for little kids and parents. If you're ages 4 to 12, this movie is worthy of big screen viewing for you. If you're the parent of a 4 to 12-year-old, take them to see this. But see it at matinee price. There's nothing too special here to warrant a weekend night out to the theater at full price. And of course, it has plenty of cutesiosity. Kids will nag parents to see this because talking animals never get old. Finally, it's an automatic childhood cinematic memory. Now, let's rate it for everyone over the age of 13. It's unworthy of big screen viewing. If you have to see it, rent it on DVD. If you find it puts your kids into a quiet 90-minute trance, go ahead and buy it in the bargain bin, because in the future, it'll serve as your DVD babysitter. It's predictable and cliche. There will be no risk-taking here. The family CGI formula will be totally obeyed. It's a big screen version of a TV show that exists because a pre-existing fan base guarantees X amount of box office, which has been calculated by studio market research. So consider yourselves advised. May your movie choices be worthy of your time, money, and energy. Take care, and until next time, long live good movies.